Well, I want to express gratitude for the privilege of appearing here in front of Your Holiness and this assemblage. We're really honored you're here. But Your Holiness, I want to thank you for your great leadership, the example and the demonstrated commitment that you've shown to tolerance and to justice and to peace. God bless you and thank you.
We value religious diversity, we value the Ahmadiyya community, and we value your leadership.
We are proud to stand with the Ahmadiyya community and proclaim together that these and other freedoms are the birthright of humanity.
But again, it is an honor to welcome you, Your Holiness, and I want to say it's an honor because you are a man, though of humble beginnings, your leadership has made you a figure of global prominence. You started as a teacher, and you have become a guide for millions of Muslims worldwide. And you do this not because all of the people, Your Holiness, the Ahmadiyya community does this not because all of the people that you serve are Muslim. You do this because you are Muslim.
The truth is that peace and justice are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. And certainly, this principle is something that all wise and intelligent people understand. Leaving aside those people who are determined to create disorder in the world. No one can ever claim that in any society, country, or even the entire world, there can be disorder or a lack of peace where justice and fair dealing exists. If all of these factors are observed, then true peace will be established for the greater good, and instead we must establish mutual relations that are based entirely on justice.
He preaches a message of love for all, hatred for none. And when Peter Mansbridge spoke with him recently, there was concern that message wasn't being heard.
During this interview, Mansbridge asked Hazrat Amir al-Momineen whether the world was at a critical junction in time.
Yes, it seems. Muslim world is disturbed. And now that is spreading, it is going beyond.
Arriving at around 10:30 a.m., Hazur was welcomed by Judy Segro, Member of Parliament for Liberals, the ruling party of Canada.
I'd like to draw to the presence of honorable members the presence in the gallery of His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad, head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community.
Pleasure to welcome His Holiness to Ottawa. The last time we met was a number of years ago, and I didn't yet occupy this office, but we had wonderful conversations, as we will this time, about the Ahmadi community and the challenges they face and the opportunities to work together on promoting love for all and hatred for none. Again, what a pleasure it is to welcome you, Your Holiness, to Ottawa. An opportunity to discuss the many challenges facing the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, but also the opportunities that we have to work together on shared goals and challenges, promoting peace and respect in the world, encouraging people to see that different points of view and different perspectives can and must be a source of strength and not a source of weakness, and an opportunity also to celebrate the extraordinary contributions that the Ahmadiyya community has made across Canada, both in building strong communities and demonstrating the openness and the welcoming nature, including the Syrian refugees, that is so dear to us in Canada and to your community. It's a wonderful partnership that we can highlight and an example, I think, to the world. So it's a pleasure to meet with you today.
Hazrat Amir al-Momineen delivered a keynote address at a reception in his honor at Parliament Hill. This event was attended by members of Parliament, ministers, senators, ambassadors, and many other dignitaries. It was also broadcast live on MTA International and streamed online. In his address, Hazur spoke to the audience about the condition of the world and how it is on the brink of a catastrophe.
It is the task of the government and the parliamentarians as guardians of their nations to legislate in a way that gives rights to their citizens rather than take their rights away. This should be done across the board, indiscriminately, so that the rights of all people, whether they be Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Sikhs, or the people of any other belief, including those who are not religious, are upheld and guaranteed at all times. And the means to resolve it become much clearer. At a broader level, the United Nations must also play its role in establishing peace in the world.
This splendid community that we have in front of us is a fine example of what religion can do to human beings. It brings the best out of us.
What I'm hearing from His Holiness is this message of peace and bringing people together in the respect of our religious belief, our freedom of expression, and in embracing those diversity all around the world. And I'm happy that he's going there to share those messages to all of us.
And I know in my own community we have an Ahmadiyya mosque who regularly has interfaith community meals so that leaders from multi-faiths and leaders from the community and from the nonprofit sector get together and have a meal and learn from each other and really get to know each other, and it has transformed our community.
I think it's frankly, the only sane message that's out there at all. When you talk about the simple 6 words, love for all, hatred for none. And if we could get other countries and other organizations and other religions to adopt those same 6 words, right, and start looking at each other and thinking of those 6 words rather than thinking negative that they tend to, I think it could do an enormous good in the world.
As Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad then arrived at the House of Representatives and was escorted to the meeting hall. The meeting itself was an open event for the public, arranged by the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Dutch Parliament. But due to the presence of an international religious leader and the press coverage leading up to the event, the meeting was attended by many foreign diplomats, consul generals, ambassadors, international politicians, and Dutch parliamentarians. A few small moments from the event.
Thus, when Islam stipulates that a Muslim should seek to inculcate the attributes of God Almighty, it becomes impossible for a true Muslim to harm others. Rather, the faith of a true Muslim compels him to love all of mankind and to treat every person with respect, grace, and sympathy.
I think the Ahmadiyya, they have a new vision on the road to peace, which includes human rights, free speech, democracy. And I think it's very important that we in the West, we know about that, because otherwise we think all the Muslims are the same. And it's important, I think, that we pay attention to the positive elements in that religion.
It is important right now, while we are having the debate in this country on the freedom of speech, at the same time we are discussing the situation in the Middle East. It is important to have a Muslim leader talking about interreligious harmony, about peace, and about the freedom of religion. Those 3 aspects are at the core of the debate in the Netherlands, and it's good to have a Muslim leader talking about these subjects in this country right now.
Anyway, the floor is now to His Holiness, the moment we've all been waiting for, His Holiness, the global spiritual leader of the Ahmadiyya community, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. The floor is yours, Your Holiness.
A fundamental and basic teaching of Islam is that a true Muslim is a person from whose tongue and hand all other peaceful people are safe. This is the definition of a Muslim given by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another beautiful principle taught by Islam is that peace in society requires one to suppress his anger, rather than allowing it to prevail over principles of honesty and justice. Islam teaches that peace can only be established by helping both the oppressed and oppressor in a manner that is completely impartial, free from vested interests, and devoid of all enmity.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a double honor. We've heard the wonderful words from His Holiness about the message of peace, and I will speak a little bit more about that in 1 second. We have been graced with the presence of the President of the European Parliament, Mr. Martin Schulz, who has come to personally greet His Holiness.
Those messages of peace, of love, of respect towards one another, of reconciliation, these are messages which are especially valuable and serve as a particularly powerful antidote at a time of tension, of a time where we have seen, unfortunately, incidences of violence, of brutality and of extremism, which play no role in any peace-loving society.
I would want to place on record our admiration for the leadership that you personally have shown and that collectively the community has shown. So thank you for the work that you have done, the difference that you have made, and the service that you continue to do, not simply to members of the Ahmadiyya community, but in being a powerful voice for tolerance, for reconciliation, and for peace. Love for all, hatred for none is a philosophy from which we can all benefit.
The Muslim community is a true Islamic religious community. Introduced the true and peaceful teachings of Islam. Our sect is the standard bearer for peace, reconciliation, and harmony, which is why our motto is love for all, hatred for none. That we Ahmadi Muslims believe that in this era, the concept of a violent jihad by the sword is completely wrong and is to be rejected. It is an urgent need of the time that in an effort to establish global peace and harmony, all people should display mutual respect for one another and for all religions. If a world war breaks out, then the Western world will also be deeply affected by its far-reaching and devastating consequences. Let us save ourselves from such destruction. Let us save our future generation from the miserable and devastating consequences of war. To prevent such a horrific outcome, we should adopt justice, integrity, and honesty, and join together to suppress and stop those groups who wish to spread hatred and who wish to destroy the peace of the world.
And I think we've seen the values of peace. I just think they're extremely friendly and they take great effort to develop good personal relationships. And I think that's really impressed everyone they've come across.
But I think it's wonderful that the Ahmadiyya community value that alongside all of the values that they brought to the UK.
Well, it's a community that's made a huge contribution to British life over the last century, but it's also a community that has been steadfast in its advocacy of tolerance, of love, of understanding and of peace. And I believe that that message of reconciliation, understanding and a commitment to peace is one of the reasons that they're held in such high regard by so many people here in Britain.
It would be much better if many more people heeded his message, his interpretation, his take. is so basically grounded on the words of the Quran, on the beliefs of the Prophet.